Hello everybody and welcome back to my ZAWA series. My name is Tinokin and last week we built this entire road and also this blue thing. Some people have asked me what that is. So if you look over there, you can see that there is a blue street sign up next to the traffic lights that tell people, okay, to the right there's this place, to the front there's that place. And this is supposed to be the same thing, just fallen down, but yeah, maybe it doesn't work out as well as I thought. And we also built this sinkhole with the little fishies in it, and you can see, I think they really like this place. They like swimming up into the broken pipe. So yeah, I think this is a good sign. So I guess you are wondering what I have in store for you today. So let's have a look over here. So maybe some of you already noticed this in the last episode, that there is a road that goes up the hill here, and I already terraformed this a little bit. And as I said already, this is supposed to be a historical town center, like you can find in many old European cities, where there is a town center that is maybe already hundreds of years old, and then the rest of the city has been built around it during the last maybe 100 years. So here at the top, I want to have some kind of a plaza. Maybe there's a farmer's market sometimes, who knows? Or used to be, more precisely. And over here I have laid out the build that I want to do today. And yeah, maybe from the layout some of you can already guess what it's going to be. If you can guess what I want to make here, good on you. If not, you have a little bit more time to think about it, because first I want to do some exploring and find some animals. And the animals that I want to put in this build once it is done are anteaters. So right now what I want to do is go out and find some of them. So this amazing biome is called Amaranth Fields, and it looks really, really beautiful. And I think we may be able to find some anteaters here. So apparently all of these flowers are amaranth flowers. They seem to come in all kinds of colors, and I didn't know that they came in all those colors. Maybe they don't in real life, who knows? Well, look who I found here. Let me get out my data book to take a peek at them. So who are you? You are a termite giant anteater, and you are a female. Okay. And this one is a harvester and giant anteater, and we have a male here. So yeah, I think I'm just going to take both of them actually. Boop and boop, and I've got both of them. So I think for my building, I maybe want to get 3 or even 4. I think it's going to be big enough for that many animals, and they can have some company. So let me continue searching to see if I can find another one. So I had to venture out a bit further into this abandoned village, quite a creepy place if you ask me, to find another anteater, but I found one, and this one looks different than the others. He has this dark brown color, so let's see. A bullet ant giant anteater. Wow, okay. I wouldn't want to mess with bullet ants, but you do you. So I think I'm going to take you with me, even though I fear I may not be able to feed you any bullet ants, because I want to stay far, far away from those guys. So yeah, it's funny, this place is a little bit similar to my own city in some way. It's an abandoned place where humans or Minecraft villagers have lived at one point, and now they don't anymore, and this place is starting to fall apart. So the sun is setting on the resource world where this is, by the way. So let's go home and start our build. So you probably guessed it, this building is going to be a church. Many historic churches in Europe have this cross-shaped foundation. And yeah, it's going to be sitting on top of this flat rock that makes up the center of our historic town center. And it's going to be overlooking the school and other parts of the city that are going to follow. So I have to admit, it was kind of clear to me from the beginning that the historic town center would need to include a church, but I found the entire thing a bit daunting because, to be really honest, I'm a lot more comfortable building modern kind of buildings and not old-looking buildings. So the entire historic town center is going to be pretty tough, I guess. So what I did was I spent a long time in a creative world trying to figure out how exactly I wanted to build this church. And I think I finally came up with something that I liked. So now I have the schematic for it and I just need to build it in here. I brought all the materials and I can give you actually a little sneak peek, funnily enough, because when I load the schematic with shaders on, it just looks, well, let's see here, it just looks entirely black. So you can see the silhouette of the church that I'm going to build, but you can't see any of the details. Let me move a bit back so you can see it better. Yeah, so this is going to be the church. So what I need to do is I need to turn off shaders to actually be able to build this. And then I'm going to record this as a time-lapse, and luckily when I render the footage from Replay Mod I can turn shaders back on so everything will look as usual to you. Alright, I can't wait to get started, let's go! Alright, let's have a look at what we did here, shall we? So I have built this church and you see that it's in like a stone brick palette with some rocky stone and some cobblestone in between, and of course some mossy parts. And I have started building the surrounding ground in front here. I'm still deciding which blocks I'm going to use for that. I'm thinking about using some more reddish blocks, like this is a cryptic stone from an end biome. We have this river stone and of course granite. I'm not entirely sure about this yet, but I want to make sure that the surrounding ground is like sufficiently dissimilar from the block palette that I used for the church, because otherwise it's just going to look all the same, right? We don't want that. And in here I have used some andesite and some smooth stone for the ground here in the front. But so here the back part is going to be where the anteaters live, and I have filled it up with grass for now, but I'm going to replace some of that, of course, with other ground blocks. And then we're going to have lots of greenery and lots of rubble, of course, from where the entire roof has fallen down. You can see, especially on this side, there's not a lot of roof left. And another thing about this build is that it's quite shady inside. So especially with shaders, with the shaders that I'm using, the sun is over there. You can see it's coming around here. So there's some patches of sun that are coming through during the day, but most of the time, and most of this is, it's going to be in the shade. As opposed to if I wasn't using shaders, then all of this would just be equally lit up, I guess. So what's important to me is that I don't add much more shade with like trees and stuff, but I do want to plant some trees. You can see I brought some saplings and I'm going to plant them in a second. But first, I just wanted to talk about the visitor structure here. So you can walk inside the church right here, and I'm planning that you can go up to here, and then I need some kind of barrier here. And I don't want to use a fence or something like that. I think it's going to be mostly rubble from the roof and some plants, maybe some bushes. So I'm not sure yet how well you'll be able to see from here. But for that we have this gallery part, so you can use the stairs to go up here, to go this part where maybe back when the church was in use, there was a choir up here or something like that. But now we can use that to look down. And as in the school, it's not entirely secure. People need to be careful that they don't fall in. Well, that's just the nature of abandoned buildings, right? And then we have a ladder here, which we can use to reach the bell tower. Let's go up here. And from here, we have a view not necessarily of the church, but of other parts of the city. So I thought that was quite cool. And we have a bell still here. So let's start with the trees. And as I said, I don't want to add a lot more shade, or any more shade if I can avoid it. So right now is actually the time of the day in the mid-afternoon where there's the most sun in here. And I'm going to plant the trees more on the north side of the church so that they don't add any more shade. And I want to start with a rainbow eucalyptus sapling. And I hope that this is going to work, that it will grow through here, because they are quite thin and tall. And I hope that the structures from the roof that are still standing are not going to get in the way of the tree. So let's just try this out. Where am I going to plant it? Maybe here? Yes. Okay, the tree seems to have some trouble growing. Maybe I need to remove some of the roof parts here. Or maybe it is rather this part here. Let me try it a little further over. Like here. Alright, so whatever I tried, I did not get the tree to grow. I removed those parts of the roof here. I don't know if I put them back the same way. Doesn't matter. But yeah, in the end, I had to do the tree by hand. So to say, you could say it's a custom tree. Not really though, because I just copied the way it usually grows, because that's what I wanted to have in the first place. Well, I have learned a very important lesson right now, which is that next time I need to go back to the original thing that I did when I built my storage building and plant the trees before I build the building, because otherwise they just won't grow and I'll have to do all the trees by hand, and I don't really feel like I want to do that because the trees that we get from this mod pack are nice enough. So I managed to grow this maple tree, and it's pretty tall, and that is because I had to put the sapling on a dirt pillar to grow it and then extend the trunk of the tree down. So that's how I got it to work. So now it's a bit taller than I thought I would have liked it, but I think it still works pretty well, so I don't mind it. And then on the other side here, I wanted to have an ebony tree like the one that's growing down there, but I just couldn't get it to work. So now I have a pine tree that I also put on a dirt pillar and then extended down, and I also extended some of the leaves down, but I didn't have to do the entire tree by hand at least. So yeah, lesson learned, and next time I will really pay attention to trying to first plant the trees. And of course that's a bit difficult in a way if I don't really know what the building is going to look like, but for the church I definitely did because I had the schematic, so it would have been really easy for me to do some planting first. And I have learned my lesson on this, I think. So now for the inside of the church, as I said, I want to add some rubble from where part of the building came down. So I'm going to take the same blocks that I used to build the church and spread them out in some piles here. And I will also texture the ground and add some greenery. And I hope that it's going to look very nice for our anteaters. Oh, wow, you guys. Okay, so I added some rubble, like I said, and then I added some details, like I said, and then I added some greenery, and then I added some more greenery, and I don't know, I may have been going a little bit overboard with the greenery, but on the other hand, can an abandoned building really be too overgrown? I don't know. Let's have a look and I'll show you what I did. Okay, let's look at it from the outside first. I finished a strip of pathway around the church. I'm not sure yet if there's going to be houses here or nothing, so I didn't continue it further out. That's future problems. So as I said, I added some greenery, and there's one thing that I wanted to tell you about that. So I have been trying to be kind of consistent with how I do the plants, kind of like inventing my own plants. So we can't see the storage building from here, but I've kind of put similar things like I put on the storage building. So I have this one climbing vine that I'm making out of mahogany leaves and those flowery orchard leaves, and another type of vine that I'm making out of baobab leaves and palm leaves that are the ones that have like the darker stripe here in them. And then I have this, let's go over here, this kind of hanging plant that I'm making out of fir leaves. And all these three plants are also plants that I have on my storage building and partly also on the school. You can see I have some of those hanging plants with the fir leaves there as well. And one additional thing that I added is this kind of, it's less of a vine and more of a shrub, I guess. And this one I've been making out of cypress leaves. And I really love how all these different greens look together. Like every plant has a different shade of green, and that makes the whole thing look so much better, I think, than if everything was the same shade of green. So there's one vine that goes all the way up to the tower, and then of course on the other side of the church I have also added all kinds of plants. So yeah, as I said, I added a lot of plants, and it may be a bit too much or it may be just right. You can tell me in the comments what you think about it. For this path here outside, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to go for some warmer colors, so I have not only added those reddish stones, I have also added some dead coral blocks, and I always feel a bit bad when I put dead coral somewhere, but it's a bit of a warmer gray than the normal cobblestone or normal stone blocks in general in Minecraft, so I think it works really well with this. And then this is a hay bale from the chipped mod let me show you how this looks. Yeah, as you can see, it's a hay bale, but if you put it in the ground like this, it does look like a bit of dirt that has like maybe some plants on it. So I think I really like this block palette for the path, and I think I'm going to use it in more places within this historic town center part. Okay, let's have a look inside. I have added a barrier here that I think from the other side should not be able to be climbed up, at least not animals like anteaters, right? But you can climb up from this side to look inside, and yeah, so this is the the inside of the enclosure that I have built with lots of greenery, with a little pond. I have added a few light sources to make it look less dark, but all in all, it's a pretty shady area, and yeah, pretty shady, pretty damp, pretty lush. I like it a lot. For some details, I have added the remainders of some church benches and also an altar over there made out of granite. And then once again, the ZAWA enrichment items are proving to be very versatile. So this is a wall forage for, I think, animals like giraffes who like to have their food high up. And I think it looks kind of like a little shrine, like you may find in a Catholic church that has like a little statue of Mary in it or something like that. The other side also has one, but one has fallen down. And then the pedestal feeder also really looks like something that you could find in a church. Maybe there were some candles on there, or it was used to hold some holy water. Who knows? But yeah, I'm always amazed how versatile those ZAWA enrichment items are, and in how many ways I can use them for my builds. I have also added 2 pedestal feeders over here for the holy water, and yeah, 2 more of those shrines on both sides. And if we look up here, I have added a custom banner with a cross on it, and on the other side as well. And from up here, we have a really nice view of the entire inside of the church. So it is time, this is always my favorite part, to put the animals in their enclosure and see what they think of it. Let's do it. And you get a name tag. And you also get a name tag. And you get a name tag. Everyone gets a name tag. But again, I don't really have any very good ideas what to name these animals. So if anyone has some suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments, and maybe we'll actually name those animals after your ideas. So we've got a lot done this episode, but before I go, there's some exciting news that I want to share with you. Look at that anteater behind me. So the ZAWA development team has announced an update that is going to come soon, and it's called the Carnivora update. And they have already named 3 animals that are going to be released. In total, it's going to be 5 animals, one of them an ambient. So ambient are the smaller animals that are in this mod pack, like the tarantulas and the scorpions. But the animals that have been announced are lions, and those sound a bit scary because apparently they hunt in packs like the African wild dogs, but unlike the African wild dogs, they are not defensive, they are aggressive. So that could be interesting. I fear a bit for the people who have chosen to create their base in a place where those lions are going to spawn. Let's see how much chaos that is going to cause. The second animal that was announced is the giant panda, and you may be wondering, why is the giant panda part of the Carnivora update? He only eats bamboo. Well, that's because as a bear, he is still part of the order of Carnivora in the classification of animals. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I think they might spawn here in our base because we are in a jungle. So let's see if they are going to actually spawn in our base in the future. And I hope that they are not going to be as aggressive. Although I think they can probably do some damage to us if we hurt them first. And the third animal that was announced is the snow leopard. Those are also really cool animals. I'm not sure if we're going to add them to our zoo though, because we are in a tropical climate and they wouldn't naturally occur here. Although maybe I will in the future, who knows? I haven't quite decided that yet. Anyway, that is it from my side. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave me a comment and tell me what you thought of this video. I would really appreciate it. See you all next time. Bye bye.